Hello and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. This is Daily Dive. I am your host, Michael Carvelis in Guyton, Georgia. Producer Joe is behind the scenes in back-to-back Banditland, New York. It is Thursday, January the 9th, 2025. We are live on 12 on Sports via YouTube, X, and Roku. If you're on the 12 on Sports YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe for other great shows and live sports. On today's awesome show, LFG Week 7, a reason to watch every game this weekend. Our guest, Steven Stamp, will talk all things NLL through 6 weeks, plus a slight preview of Week 7. And memes, the latest from the funny people at NLL Memes, or funny person, whoever that is. We want to first let you know that this show is presented by tickets.12ouncesports.com. That's tickets.numbers12letters.ozsports.com. Get your National Lacrosse League tickets for less by going to that website. And don't worry, they include all sports and, of course, your favorite artist concerts. That's right, music. And not to mention Broadway and theater. Tickets.12ouncesports.com. Alrighty, it is now time to get into what's becoming a Thursday tradition. Let's go for week number 7. Yes, I'm going to give you a reason to watch all 7 games this week. And I think I did pretty good this week, by the way. So, Friday, Ottawa Black Bears at the Georgia Swarm. Here's the thing. One of these teams might be frauds. Is that possible? One of these teams, when they lose this game, it's going to be like, oh, great. They're losing to good teams again. We just got to find out which team's going to come out on top. And you got Jeff Teat, Lyle Thompson, Brett Dobson, Zach Higgins, all those people, and yet one has to win and one has to lose. Ugh, we'll see what happens. Toronto Rock at the Buffalo Bandits on, I don't know if it's on a linear U.S. channel yet, but I do know it's a lot of channels. And here's the thing. The Rock could be 0-5 very easily. 0-5? Why? Mark Matthews is going to miss his first career game. So, yeah, Corey Small comes back. You take 2 steps backwards with Mark Matthews being out. And by the way, I'd like to announce this, Producer Joe. Can I do that? What's going to happen during the game on halftime? Rock Bandits? He says not yet. Not yet. Oh, okay. So, we're going to save that for now. Also, the late game on Saturday. San Diego Seals at the Vancouver Warriors. Why should you stay up? It's a late game West Coast showdown. The question is, who's going to show up? These two teams are very good defensively, have had pretty good goaltending, and have some star power on offense. Could be a great game to stay up and watch. All right, Saturday's games. 1 p.m. If you're on the East Coast, why are you going to wake up on Saturday and then at 1 p.m. you're going to watch this game? Why? Dane Dobie against Brandon O'Neill. And by the way, this is only Brandon O'Neill's second home game in Philly. So that should also be fun. But yeah, Dane Dobie has been awesome this year. So is Brandon O'Neill. You also have Curtis Dixon. And for the Wings, you got Mitch Jones, the Jonas and Terrace, the whole crew. You get it. Then in the evening time, Halifax at Rochester. Because 90s jerseys. Have you seen them? They look pretty amazing. And what better way to celebrate the 90s night than saying, hey, we used to be you, and now you stole our championships. A story for another day. Las Vegas at Saskatchewan. Because here are the rookies playing in this game. Adam Patra, Jake Naso, Brock Haley, among others. Wow, the future of the league looks bright. And, of course, Albany at Colorado. Much like the first game where one team is going to be a fraud, this game, somebody's preseason contender, whether it be the Mammoth or the Firewolves, is going to come out looking very good. And one team will not. So which contender is going to show up and which one might be legit, we'll have to see. But that's Let's Go for week number 7. What games are you looking forward to? I wrote down my favorite games just for the record. I like Toronto, Buffalo, Ottawa, Georgia, San Diego, Vancouver. Which of those is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Steven Stamp. He's got many hats, but today he'll be wearing his Daily Dive guest hat. Cannot wait to get to that. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water. Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alrighty, so we're on Spotify if you search Daily Dive. Steven Stamp, you're on a lot of things. What hats are you wearing at this point in your career in the big year 2025?
I guess the key things, I'm still the editor at IL Indoor, which
Cool.
is my main gig. I do quite a bit of announcing. I was, at the World Championships in September in Utica. Lax and I back down there. I'm doing the play-by-play for Calgary at Ottawa in Ottawa on January 31st. So mark that on your calendars. And we have a new thing going on Blue Squatch Productions called Inside the World of Box Lacrosse, or It Wobble. And
Exactly.
I'm doing that with Adam Levy.
I love that so much. Yeah, and I heard you guys had your first live episode fairly recently, right?
Last week we went live. We've been talking about it a bit, and we had been recording, just kind of get some of the kinks out and that, and then we decided to go live. It's a lot of that's due to Greg Beecher. He asked me if I'd be interested in doing it, and if I thought maybe Adam or someone would join, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to do it with Adam. We really enjoy working together, and Greg was like, hey, if we can go live, it really helps build the audience, as I'm sure you see, and you get engagement. Right. And so it was pretty fun. And I'll tell you, I have to give you credit for going on 5 days a week. That's unbelievable. I obviously don't always agree with the things that you say, but I think that's part of the point, right? Generate discussion and disagreement and debate. And I give you a lot of credit for being out there every day.
No, and we appreciate you for I don't want to say joining the club, because you've been doing the club a lot longer than I have, but going on the live, it's fun.
Yeah,
so,
I've been on once before, a couple times, I guess.
You've been on this. I think the last time you came on this show was last year to start the
Yeah.
our hype up month actually. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. I was supposed to go on. I know at the beginning of this season it didn't really work out. I had some stuff going on. I actually had a car accident on the way home from Worlds. Somebody smashed into my car, drove us into a barrier, and they flipped their car. But my car was written off, and I had I had a concussion. I was off work for a bit. And, concussion protocol for a while. Still dealing with some of that stuff. So I wasn't as engaged with things outside of my regular work as I might usually be. So.
Well, we're glad you're safe now for the most part, and you're here in person. I got to first ask you, this was off the cuff because you mentioned you were at the Worlds in Utica. Yep. I got to ask you about the women in winning the winning the championship for the Worlds for the U.S. That was absolutely insanity. Canada owns box lacrosse, and sorry, Stephen, tell me what happened, man.
Honestly, it was quite surprising. The U.S. women's team, great athletes, but we knew they didn't play. Most of them hadn't played box lacrosse at all. And I'll tell you what, at the Lax Night the year before, the U.S. men's team, as they had done in the previous Worlds, put in two teams, USA Blue, USA White, played very well. And that was part of their process for trying out. And I thought, well, the U.S. women for the first Worlds coming up, obviously they're going to do the same. And they didn't. And what I heard from part of the coaching staff was they didn't want people to see what they had too far ahead. And I thought, everyone knows what you have. You have great athletes who have never played box lacrosse. I think you're going to gain more from playing than you're going to benefit from not playing. And at the Worlds, I watched the U.S. women. I watched the Canadian women. I was at the Canadian women's tryouts and things. I thought, this is a good team. Very athletic, very young. They were built to compete with the athletic U.S. team, because that was clearly the big challenge. And I really thought with, players like Erica Evans and Katie DeSnoo and Megan Kinna and some of the defenders they had, Brooklyn Walker Welch, they had a great team and really good goaltending. I thought the U.S. goaltending would be a big challenge because it's hard. That's the hardest position, right? To adjust from field to box. But they played fantastic. They played very much as a team, and they had a better game in the championship than Canada did. Their goaltender was terrific, and they played to their strengths. I thought Canada didn't shoot very well in the final. They were hitting the goalie in the chest quite a bit, and I think they might have gotten a little nervous. I think Canada, they knew the U.S. would be a challenge, but I think they figured it was going to work out for them. And when things weren't working out, it looked like they got a little tense. And I don't think they shot very well. And then honestly, the toughest part was Rachel Lapine, fantastic defender for Canada, great transition player, just dynamite. When the one shot that bounced off her stick and into the net, that's such a hard break. That's the bounces. It happens. But I felt so badly for her. And I think that was a turning point because Canada was coming back in that game, and that kind of stemmed that flow. And I'm not saying it was a fluke at all, because the U.S., to their credit, took advantage of their situation. But that was a tough break that went against Canada, and the U.S. I think that kind of not woke them up. They were playing really well. They were against a very good team, but it made them realize, hey, we've got to buckle down towards the end. And they were full credit for it. They, Aaron Bates, awesome. And they were a great team. And I'll tell you, I wasn't calling that game, so I was sitting in the stands with some friends from the international community, and that was an electric game. The atmosphere was fantastic in the building. It was actually a lot of fun just sitting and watching that game, because it was, I mean, it showed what women's lacrosse can be. And what it is already at the very highest levels. And watching the other teams at the Women's Worlds, I think we saw what it can be, but they have a ways to go naturally. It's the first one, right? They've got a ways to go, and they know that, but they're making big progress. So I just thought it was super exciting.
No, absolutely. I echo all those statements. I'm sure many people do. And I love the backstory about them maybe hiding a little bit of stuff they have behind the curtains, which is awesome. Well, so I know last time we had you on, we talked about the draft and about rookies. And gosh almighty, we don't have some good ones this year. Some names I want to throw out to you and just ask you what you think about who's been the best or whatever you want to go with this. Sure. Jake Naso, Brandon O'Neill, Adam Poitras, Dyson Williams. The list goes on. How bright is the future of the National Lacrosse League?
There's a ton of talent, right? And the thing is, and this is coming off not the best draft ever. Now, a bunch of those guys Yeah, well, no, not supposedly. It was not.
That's true because Dyson was last year. You're right.
Yeah, Dyson and Will Johansson, who you didn't mention, who I think
That's
is
true.
right in the mix for Rookie of the Year. Zach Masson, you also didn't mention, but he was drafted back in 2017 when he was a junior, but then he went to school at Alaska Anchorage to play hockey. So he's been chasing the pro hockey dream. He was ready to come now, and he's been really good. I think he's very bright, but especially you look at the 26 and 27 drafts, they may actually rival 2015. I did a deep dive into that today on my Stampers Musings because Graham Perro, who's I think one of the best people on lacrosse Twitter, and he tweeted about everybody from the first round of the 2015 draft playing at least 100 NLL games, and 7 of the players in the second round. And I went through, and there were 22 players from the 2015 draft who have played 100 plus games. And then you got like Jordan Durston's at 97. I don't know if he's going to play again, but Adam Bombery, who has had some injury issues, he very well may be back. He's played 94, I think it is. So there's a bunch of guys who have really shone from that draft. I think 26 and 27. Names like Joey Spallina and Willem Firth, and so many good players. And this year you got CJ Kirst, who's going to be the first pick.
Yes. How many Kirst guys grow on trees, man? That's insane.
Yeah, it's wild, right? And I think CJ's the best of them. The rest are all good, but he's just dynamite.
I'm glad I asked you that question because I knew I was saving that for somebody, and you're the rookies guy on the show so far.
So you're asking about it. Did you want to go back? Because I kind of danced around it a fair bit.
No, I love because I have some more things to ask you about. I love that you like the Will Johansson thing. I know Glenn Clark has praised him a ton.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing about Johansson, Clarkey saw him playing out in Nanaimo when Glenn was coaching the Nanaimo junior team. And Will, I think, may have already been, did he coach him directly or was he already in senior? I don't recall exactly, but I think he and Taggart were friends. But Clarkey saw a bunch of him, and Julian Kolb, their West Coast scout, got to see him, and they knew what they had in Johansson. Him slipping to 7 was actually not really surprising because he wasn't as well known maybe as some of the other guys. And there were that draft, wasn't that like Owen Grant and some of those guys? I mean, they're great players. But Johansson is, I couldn't believe watching him in the NLL, how fast he is coming off an ACL surgery and at his size. It's unbelievable. He's an amazing player. And I'll tell you, if Brendan O'Neill wasn't exploding, I think Johansson's your leader right now for the Rookie of the Year.
I mean, I personally like the Patra, his ability to like play defense. It's like, how are you already Dane Smith? It's like it's kind of, you know what I'm doing there, but it's scary. Like, these guys are great. I love it.
Yeah. Patra, and the thing is, I mean, Sean Williams knows him, right? Patra was the captain of the Whitby Warriors when they won the Minto Cup 2.5 years ago. And that was on a team with, Brock Haley and a bunch of great players. And there's another guy to put in this conversation, by the way.
Sure.
He's been outstanding, as I think we expected he would be. But Patra to come up and I still, honestly, I have to admit, I need to check with him whether it's Patra or Poitras. I always thought it was Poitras, but I've been hearing Patra. I still want to check with him. And I talked to Adam right after he was drafted in Toronto, in Oakville. And awesome. I didn't ask him because I just assumed it was Poitras. And that's a mistake on my part. But I will check with Adam. But he coming out and playing defense. I mean, he was a forward, and he was like quarterback of the power play with Whitby. And we figured that's what he's doing in the pros. He comes out and plays D, and then the thing, he played the D, but when he's on playing forward, his forward, he is. I mean, it's vicious the way he gets after guys. It's not an easy automatic clear when he is out there.
I love that so much, and I'm going to leave the rookies be for now because I do want to ask you about a team that's really disappointed me. Is like, and I don't know where to go with this because Albany is 1-4. Mm-hmm. And Albany, for me, is like, I love that they're leading games, but then it's like, I also like, they're blowing it. And I know Callum Crawford came in and they ended up losing to Vegas. What is your take on Albany? Are you still buying in from last year? Are we seeing a sophomore slump?
It's a really good question and a really interesting topic. And I actually wrote in my 5 things we learned this week that, maybe it's time to worry a bit in Albany, but they're 1-4. They are a +4 in goal differential.
That's crazy.
Look at the standings, right? And you see all the teams around them. Actually, you pull it up, and the teams around them in the standings: -19, -22, -3.
Oh, I see that.
11.
Jeez.
That is not normal to be 1-4 when you're a +4. They've lost 3 overtime games. That tends to turn around. Teams don't tend to keep losing in overtime. I think Albany's going to be fine long term. I think they're going to be great long term. In terms of the season, it's 1-4 does make it tough to get in the playoffs. You have to go very well, right? So I think it's going to be a challenge, but I still see them as a playoff team. I can imagine them being like one of those teams that sneaks in at number 7 or 8 and nobody wants to play because they're playing so well. I think the thing is, I think Doug Jamieson has to turn it around. He hasn't been great, right? He's had some great
in the fourth quarter for sure, yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't been quite himself. He'll get better. The defense has had breakdowns that you don't expect from them. I think Nick Tchaikovsky being out for a bit really was disruptive, and having to battle through some injuries. People don't get how good Nick Tchaikovsky is. But they've had some breakdowns that are a little surprising. I think they need to dial it up. I think it's not surprising that you've got the rookies the guys who had great rookie seasons last year are not all firing on all cylinders at all times, right? Because
exactly.
It's going to happen. I'm going to date myself with this, but I remember being on a sports talk show back after the '86 Mets won the World Series, and somebody asked me, "How do you think they're going to do this year?" And I said, "I think they're going to drop off." And they said, "Why?" And I said, "They're pitching; they can't do it." And he said, "Well, who on the staff can't do it?" And I said, "Well, I mean, they had like David Cohn and like Gooden. I forget who it all was. But the thing is, every one of those guys had a career year. That doesn't happen in back-to-back seasons, right? Those rookies were all fantastic. Not everyone's going to be fantastic every game all season. I still think Albany's in good shape, but they don't have much margin for error at this point. And I think little things. I mean, I'm a big Ben McDonald fan. I think he's a really, really good young player. I think he's going to be a very good NLL player. I felt badly for him being the guy that was chasing the goal scorer in the last overtime game. Overtime
Patra?
Was it? Yeah, it was, right? He was.
You want to also say, speaking of the devil.
Right? He lost Patra up at the top.
Yeah.
And was chasing him down, and I felt badly. But also, I think that's one where in game, I think they would like to be able to go back and not necessarily have Ben on the floor in overtime covering Adam Patra.
I mean, especially what he's doing so far, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, this is an interesting one. I haven't really harped on this one, but we're 6 weeks in. Got a 7-game schedule coming up. Who's? You can give me multiple here, but MVP leaders. Give me one guy in just 6 weeks, like 4 or 5 games that we're looking at so far.
So hard, right? I mean,
I agree.
It's remarkably difficult, and I mean, I feel like you've got to look at guys who are playing for teams that are playing very well, for one thing,
right?
And I mean, I don't see how you don't have Dane Smith in the conversation again.
Always.
Right? I mean, he's the guy's incredible.
And they've been dominant too. That's a great point.
Oh my God. And they've only played 3 games, right? So he and Byrne are right up there again.
Matt Vince.
Who else? I'll tell you, well, I don't know if I'd put him in the MVP conversation, but one guy that I've been talking about lately, and we're going to talk about it more on it Wobble this week, which we've delayed because Adam's been sick, and
I heard about that, yeah.
Yesterday, yeah. So Ryan Lansbury is so overlooked.
That's crazy.
So overlooked.
You said that.
Yeah.
Spencer Conley said Ryan Lansbury, and here you are talking about it. This is great.
Go.
There you go.
There you go. So there's so many guys at this point, honestly, that you can put in there. You just look at the list. I mean, Joe Rezateritz. Philly's so hard to tell because 2 of their wins were against Vegas, who wasn't playing well at the time. Yeah. But Rezateritz and Mitch Jones is fantastic. What about what Connor Kelly is doing in Colorado? He's been incredible. Malcolm may have been more valuable for them. He's been just lights out as well.
15-15 for this. That's pretty good numbers. I told people if Will Malcolm woke up, Colorado opponents are in trouble, and of course Halifax got the butt end of that one.
Yes.
But I got to ask you one more thing here. This weekend, and I want to take anything away from you and Adam on It Wobble.
Yeah.
There are some really good games. There's some West Coast showdowns.
Yeah.
The Rock might go to 0-5, especially with the Mark Matthews news.
I know.
What game are you looking at? Because there's a few of them.
Challen Rogers back and lose Mark Matthews.
That's what I'm saying. Like one step forward and 2 steps back. It's like, dang it.
Yeah.
So, what game are you most looking forward to? There's a lot of good ones.
Wow. That's really, honestly, I think, I mean, there's, like you said, there's 7 games. There's some really interesting ones. I think, going back to Albany, the Firewolves visiting Colorado has been very good. And Albany has to turn that around. Colorado's been playing well. Dylan Ward is kind of back to being himself, more or less. I think that's really fascinating.
Me too.
And I think because Vancouver's another one of the teams that's only played 3 games. I'm looking forward to getting to see them again up against San Diego. And I mean, San Diego, a team that was inches away from dropping below 500 for the first time in what was it, 3 years, right? And it's funny because you think of San Diego as this big powerhouse offensive team, but it's their D that's been getting it done for the last couple of years as well. And then in this 6-5 win, like Graham Barrow, once again, nobody's ever won a game scoring 6 goals in the NLL until last week.
Is it a good thing, bad thing? We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to score 6 goals very often. With
holding Jeff T to 5, I think is good enough.
Yeah,
but it's rough. All right, anything on your mind or anything you want to plug before we let you go, Steven?
Just go check out It Wobble. Check out Blue Squatch Productions on YouTube.
Lots of content.
Greg does great stuff. He puts so much work into it. He lets Adam and I just kind of sit there and chat about stuff, and he pulls it all together. And what the guys behind the scenes, how important they are, right, to the show. And so there's that. And I'm excited. I spent a day with Jason Tasse, who's going to be doing color with me for the Calgary at Ottawa game. Watched his team, because he coaches in the Arena League, watched his team play, and actually charted shots for them, which was really fun, really interesting.
Ooh.
And then watched the game with him, then drove back to my house, and we watched the end of Albany, Las Vegas together, and the first half of San Diego and Ottawa. And then he had to head home to Ottawa. It was midnight, and he still had a couple hours to go. But we were just working on, being prepared. We want to do a good job for that game, because I think it's really important that I think the league needs really solid announcing. So,
Well, I know I've heard you on a few things before, and you do a good job. And I'm happy that you're doing that, because I haven't. That's awesome, dude. That is so cool. And we thank you again for coming on this show. I used to do a few
games, right? I did. Sorry to jump in. I did rock games. I did color for years and years, 7 or 8. Yeah. I did the draft for like 11 years. So it'd be. I'd love to do games regularly. I think. Awesome. I feel like I know the league pretty well and can bring some value to the broadcast. So.
You think? All right, Steven, we'll let you get going. We hope you and Adam can do a show this week, because I know he is feeling under the weather. Yeah. But thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you again very soon on the show.
Thanks for having me on. Have a great show, and good luck with the daily grind. I know it's the daily dive, but I meant the grind of the daily dive. There you go.
Steven Stamp, everybody. He's awesome. He's a wealth of knowledge. We all knew that, and it was on display once again. Alrighty, folks, when we come back, MEMES has once again taken the internet by storm. Woo! Strap in. We'll be right back and wrap it up next. Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them, with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
What up, everybody? It's producer Joe, the baddest daddy in producing history, here to tell you all about the baddest, daddiest merch store. Go to the link tree in the bios of either our IG or Twitter, and from there you can access merch for the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show on the internet. I repeat, the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show on the internet. We got hoodies for when your girl comes over and wants to cuddle. Just don't let her take it when she leaves. How about a baddest daddy cap for when you lie about how much you hate Mike in this show, but you're still here? We've got beanies so you can do that in the cold too. Guys, what's going to happen when all these moms see you dropping your kid off at practice in this thing? Want to sip like a daddy and feel like a baddie? Check out that mug. 6-time NLL champ Johnny T and savior of my Buffalo sports childhood knows what I'm talking about. Guys, I'm really going to need you to start buying shit because I'm getting sick of doing Instacart. But yeah, go check it out so you can start repping and supporting the brand.
Producer Daddy out.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So when today's show ends and you're at your next NLL game, you're going to be like, wow, that was... I feel really good. I can get some hot dogs. I can get a soda now. And your wife's going to ask you why. You're going to be like, oh, because I got my tickets from tickets.12ouncesports.com. Tickets.numbers12lettersozsports.com. You won't regret seeing things live knowing you guys are tickets for less. Alrighty. It is now time to get to the good people from NLL Memes. Listen, these, I'm telling you, they've done it again. And because some Tyson Bell news came out, what did we get from the boys? Babe, you made it to NLL Memes, Tyson Bell. Yeah, okay. Thanks. I'm going to keep this up by the way, producer Joe, so we can give them credit. But yeah, no, that was... the picture for once made me laugh the most. So that was a good one. And there's more where that came from. Let's look at them. Yeah. I mentioned the joke that was on Twitter yesterday. They were saying, well, what did the fan get for the discipline? Someone's like a punch in the face and a whack with a stick. Come on, man. Oh.
I will never pull on a man when he's down, but I will be the person to lift him up. And now he has to overcome another obstacle. So I'm going to support him. I'm going to lift him up, and I'm going to be there for him because I see the way he fights. I see the way that he works, and I know who he is as a person and as an NFL quarterback. And that's all I have to say to address him. I'm sending up my prayers. I already prayed for his leg, and I will continue.
Okay, so fun fact, the Thunderbirds released this statement, by the way, This is like right after the league broke the news. The Thunderbirds support the league's decision and reaffirm our commitment to ensuring a safe environment for all players, fans, and staff. Also, Jameis Winston's a really good preacher. Like, I don't know why he tries football so hard. That's a minute-long clip. I had to cut it because the music is very clear and very obvious to YouTube. But that was. I'm not gonna do it again. Jeez, but I'm telling you, this was my favorite one. This is my favorite one. My lord, you people. Who I'm almost like glad no one knows who this account is, including me. It's good though. You laugh at these things. And little me's on Instagram, they are legends, but we already knew that. Oh, speaking of legends, thanks for all the comments on today's show. And the social medias, by the way, at the bottom, which we will see very shortly here. I reported earlier that Cody Jameson is returning to the Halifax Thunderbirds. Pretty cool thing considering that he's going to be back in Rochester. But yeah, follow me at Michael Carvelis. Producer Joe is at Daddy_produces and Baddest Production Father. And Bigo is on LJ Lacrosse 49 on both Instagram and Twitter/X. Alrighty. Thank you so much for watching today's awesome show. Reminder that you are the bread, you are the butter, you are the wheels that turn Steven Stamp's brain, because those things are amazing. Thanks for all the comments, even if you commented for the first time, etc. For all the guests that come on this show previously, today, like Steven Stamp, and those that come in the future, like Patrick Gordon, possibly Adam Levy. Hope he's feeling okay. Thank you for coming on the show, sharing your audience with us, giving us validity and relevance. Reminder for Bigo, who's always pressing the buttons on social media, our social media manager, for the Baddest Daddy and producing, tickering, all that stuff, history producer Joe, and Spencer Conley, who commented, by the way. I'm your host, Mike, saying have a great rest of your day. This has been Daily Dive. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 12 on Sports. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.